music producers. This is Curtis King, obviously of Curtis King TV, and I'm joined by my friend once again, Gabe. Gabe of Legion Beats and of just the
Midi
utmost
Money,
respect within the, and Midi Money. How can I forget Midi Money? Come on now,
Midi Money
Curtis.
gang.
Oh man, Midi Money. Gabe, man, it's. I was just talking to you about that before. It's amazing to see even the growth since the last time we had a discussion, which is not a surprise. It's just I admire being able to view it and see it. But man, welcome once again. Thank you for joining us.
Bro, thank you so much for having me. Always a pleasure, always an honor. Man, I'm excited to get into this. I think there's never been a better time to address our audience than right now. So I'm excited.
Yeah, definitely. Now, it's gonna be my next question: is how you kind of doing through all of this stuff, man? I know it's got to adjust business for you, and just personal life, like it is for a lot of producers out here.
Yeah, man, it's strange times. Certainly nothing I've seen in my lifetime, and really nobody has, right? So it's
Absolutely.
really it's interesting. I know there's a lot of suffering going on in the world. There's people's health, the economy, all people are uncertain about the future, all this kind of stuff. And
Right.
so I really have a lot of empathy, for people like that. And at the same time, I'm like so grateful to be in the position that I'm in, where, my business, what I do, what I love to do is largely unaffected. Actually, in a strange way, in some ways, there's never been a better time for what I do, as a producer, as an educator.
Right.
And so it's been interesting to kind of balance those two things of realizing that there's all these people going through, these hardships, this pain and suffering. And then at the same time, that as music producers, we're actually in a unique position to provide value to those people, to help those people. What they're looking for are, they're looking for entertainment, they're looking for hope, they're looking for direction. And as music producers, we're in a unique position to actually provide that value. And I think there's some concern that people might have of like, hey, is right now the time to be creating content? Should we be going live? Is it disrespectful for us to be
Right.
going live right now and talking about music and talking about traffic and talking about business when people are suffering? And to me, I would say not only is it not disrespectful, but I would say it's our moral obligation to provide that value to people that need it right now more than ever. And if
Absolutely.
you're a producer who's listening to this, to me, like, this is not an excuse to stop doing what you're doing. This is actually the time when you need to double down, because your tribe, your people, the rappers and singers that follow you, your fans, your followers, all those people, they need you now more than ever. So that's
And
kind of my thoughts on that.
And the extra layer to that is your family does too. First
Mm-hmm.
time I ever heard success being because people look at it, I think in general, success being an option, an optional thing. Like if it happens, that'll be really good. But if it doesn't, like it's okay, life goes on. But success really is your moral obligation. I first heard that, I think, in the 10X Rule by Grant Cardone, and he talks
Yep.
about how you have to stop viewing it as an optional thing. Like your success is your moral obligation to your family as well, to yourself, to your tribe and your customers and folks that are looking for you, but to your family as well. And I just want to take a second to kind of shout out and show some love and respect to some of the folks that are already in here, the folks that jumped in first. Shout out to the homie Busy Works Beats, who
Hey.
obviously, y'all have to discuss some things very recently. But Marquee Sound, Aquaman Beats, Classy Beats, Lucidus, Deal to Respect Beats, Damon X, White Boy Beats, Knight Rider, Kashinga, and we got we got a nice amount of folks in here, and I'm glad that it's folks in here that are here for this type of information. I think that the easiest thing to get people in a room is when you do a beat cook up, but this, when it comes to actually learning something that can not only impact your business right now as a music producer, but also impact just your overall skill set, because you can transfer this stuff over to multiple places. The last time you saw Gabe and I here having a discussion was probably a lot of folks' first time of hearing about funnels, and then hearing about how that can specifically help you as a music producer. And so I know a lot of you took advantage of, when he came in and graciously gave an opportunity for you guys to learn under him and Anno. And I'm so proud of y'all, and I'm really glad to see you guys in here too. Let me just take a second to acknowledge the viewers that I have from Italy. I know it's wild, probably the wildest that it is in the world right now for you guys. But much love and support, and definitely prayers being sent your direction. If you're here now, even with everything going on right there, you're gonna be very much happy to be here, because we're gonna make sure we make it worth your while. So, Gabe, did I cut in the middle of what you wanted to discuss already, or are we just
No,
get
not really.
underway?
I wanted to make sure, to kind of set that, that tone of, now is the time more than ever to not hide out, but to
Sure.
actually be present, to get in front of your audience, whatever that means. If you're a producer, that's probably rappers and singers. If you're an artist, then that's your fans, that's your followers.
Right.
Um, Basically, that there's never been a better time than now for multiple reasons. One is that they need it more than ever because
Mm-hmm.
they're stuck at home, they're worried, they're uncertain about their jobs. And so they need us. They need entertainment. They need to have direction.
Yeah.
They need to learn, you know, how to do the things that we know how to do. And not only that, but it's also a great opportunity because there's literally never been a time in history when more people were online, when more people were scrolling through Facebook and Instagram, where more people have time
Right.
to, invest in themselves, to learn, to work on their music, to work on their craft. So basically I just want to set the tone that there's no better time than now, and kind of have that be the framework for how we're talking about now. How do we actually get that attention? How do we get that traffic? How do we get that message in front of those people that need it, so that both
Right.
we can help them and that we can, like you said, help ourselves, help our families, grow our businesses,
Sure.
because it becomes a win-win. We provide that value to them, and then that makes us be able to not only have businesses that can survive through this, this time, but also to actually thrive in this time.
Right. And that's been. I mean, I'm glad that you're pushing that as the message, because for me, that's been the same thing with my audience. Is that don't waste tough times. That's another Grant Cardone. Shout out to him. Another quote from him. But don't waste tough times, because tough times present opportunities every single time. I think that's the goal, and that's the challenge of tough times. The bigger challenge is not only can I get through this, but can I see the opportunity in this to either not have to be in this position again, or to do something that requires more of myself. And so, very grateful that you're here to discuss these things. And so, yeah, for those that are new to the Gabe experience, to the MIDI Money experience, please explain to them, who are you, what is it that you do, and just all that pertinent information for somebody who may be new to you.
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Gabe Schillinger. I've been producing and engineering for just about 20 years now. So I've been doing this for a long time, and I spent about the first 10 plus years of my career trying to play the music industry game, right? Trying to get placements, trying to basically sell my music to record labels, basically trying to be an employee of somebody else. And I had a couple cool highlights. Got to work with some popular artists. Heard some songs on the radio, on TV. Some cool stuff, and that was exciting. But some of that excitement started to die down when I realized I was approaching 30 years old, and I still lived with my dad's house because I couldn't afford to move out. I was, at that time, I was embarrassed to talk about what I was doing because I felt like I was just, some starving artist, pursuing some pipe dream, and it was just never going to happen. Um, and so at that time, I was ready to give up. I was like, okay, it's time to get a real job. This is not working for me. Um, and on top of that, too, like, I'm somebody who's dealt with anxiety and depression pretty much my whole life. And at this time, we're talking about 5 or 6 years ago, it was at its absolute worst. And so I had days where I literally didn't leave my bedroom because the anxiety was so bad. So, I'm feeling like, man, I gotta give up on this dream I've been chasing. I'm too anxious to even get out and do anything. So this was a real rock bottom point for me. And so it was basically a desperation of, okay, I either need to go do something completely different, or I need to shift what I'm doing within music. And so that's when I made the transition to selling beats online. And I started doing that. And I started doing that the same way that most producers at that time were doing it. And honestly, the same way most producers now are doing it, right?
Right.
Which is more or less, some version of trying to get attention on social media. Usually it's YouTube, maybe it's Instagram, and then trying to drive that traffic to like a traditional beat store website, like an old school website. And so that's what I did. And I got a couple sales. It was cool. It was like, all right, this is kind of fun. Started learning a little bit more about marketing and stuff like that, to see if I could get a couple more sales, and started to get a little excited about it. I kind of had a little spark of like, oh, this kind of marketing thing is kind of cool. I never really dove into that side of things. I always just focused on my craft of music. And so I started looking at what every other producer was doing, as many producers as possible. Like, how are they promoting? How are they getting, like, how are they on the top of the, at the time, SoundClick charts or BeatStars charts or whatever? How are they
Right.
ranking, And I came across a producer who goes by Anno Domini Nation, the production team, right? And I remember I was scrolling through Facebook, and they'd posted a link, clicked the link, and I saw this page and the way it was laid out. And like at the time, I didn't understand what it was or who was behind it. But what I learned later was that it was Anno Domini, Adrian from Anno Domini Nation, who was behind that. And what he was doing is he was using something called sales funnels to sell his beats. And so I didn't understand it, but I was like, wow, this looks really interesting. This looks pretty cool. And I happened to look up at the URL, and it was like annodomini.clickfunnels.com. And so I was like, I wonder what ClickFunnels is.
Right.
And that fundamentally shifted my entire life, where now I learned about ClickFunnels. I learned about the founder of that company, who's the guy named Russell Brunson. And I read his first book, which is called .com Secrets. And when I read .com Secrets, it completely changed who I was. Up until that time, I never thought of myself as a marketer or an entrepreneur or even a business owner. Like, I had a recording studio. I was technically a business owner, but I'd never taken on that identity. I never felt like that's who I was.
Right.
But I read that book, and it made me realize that marketing was something that not only was something that, maybe I could be good at, but something that could actually be really fun and really exciting.
Not to interrupt you, but was there a specific way in which Russell kind of presented the information that made it more digestible for you, or what was it specifically about him? Because it's so crazy to see you rubbing shoulders with anybody who doesn't know who Russell Brunson is. Like, the man's mind is already brilliant in its own right, but just his name, it rings so much power because of what he's been able to do for so many businesses around the world. With this system. But was there a way that he presented the information that made it a little bit more digestible? Because I know a lot of, and I'm not even going to say producers, a lot of times for me, there's a lot of stuff, a lot of books that I've read that have to do with marketing, and sometimes marketers can get too markety, and
Sure.
you get to the point where you feel like am I doing something wrong? Is this the way things have always been? Or what was it about his approach that made you kind of want to, or that resonated with you, I should say?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it was a combination of the way that he wrote, and that he is really good at being able to speak to people where they're at. Meaning, he's not being too markety. Like, he's not using all this weird jargon of like, these terms that I didn't understand yet or anything like that. He explained it in a way that made me understand it, and also made, because I understood it and because I saw the potential and because I saw that this was the way that I was going to get my music to the world, how I was going to be able to make money, how I was going to be able to do all this stuff, it got me really excited about it. So I think it was a combination of him being able to, I think one of the geniuses of Russell Brunson, one of the many things that he does so well, is he's a student of the game. So he loves marketing, right? And so he has studied every marketer in the world, the ones that are long dead, all the ones that are popular right now, and he takes all that information in and he synthesizes it, and he extracts the most important, most pertinent, like most applicable stuff, and then he boils it down to literally a doodle. If you look in his books, he literally has these little cartoon drawings, right?
Yeah.
And so, and that's what he does. And that's how he thinks about things. Like, let me see if I can just find one real quick. Like, I don't know how well you can see that, but whatever.
Yeah,
there's one right there. And so basically, he'll take this extremely complicated subject, this concept, and he'll boil it down to like literally like, here's a little stick figure doing this, this, and this, and then you're like, oh my God, I understand this.
Yeah, finally
so
somebody just speaks to you and lets you know what the situation is, for sure.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And so when I read that book, it was a combination of him explaining it in a way that I understood, and that the concepts were new to me. It was this, so many things that we could get into, but the concept of creating a true offer instead of a commodity, the concept of, sales funnels, this idea of
Right.
really controlling the customer journey, this concept of a value ladder, of how you take somebody through that journey, and all these different concepts that at that time were new to me, and really were not being applied for the most part in our community in music, as music producers. And so
Right.
I was able to apply those things along with Anno Domini, and we were kind of, it's crazy. So like I think back to a couple years ago, and the people that I was looking up to and following, and people like yourself, of like, oh my God, like, man, Curtis King is like the man, like, damn, like, Anno Domini, like, bro, that's like,
Right.
I want to be
Appreciate you.
Anno Domini, like, Russell Brunson, like, oh my, like this guy is, and now I'm friends with these guys. Like I'm chatting with Curtis King right now on
You're
a Saturday.
friends with
Like,
them and you're educating them as well. So let's not sleep on that. I know you're very humble in your presentation of that, but you're teaching a lot of us. I want to call us old dogs. I'll call myself an old dog. You're teaching the old dogs some new tricks because the world is changing. The way that your consumers are changing, and I think that a lot of people, especially my producer community, who I love so much, they chase success because somebody tells them, "Oh, this is the way," and then they stick with it and never readjust, and they wonder like, "Why am I not getting beat sales? Why am I not getting traffic? Why is nobody interested in what I'm doing?" And it's like if you were on the other side looking in and somebody did the same thing over and over and over and over and over again and never readjusted, you wouldn't have interest in that as well. But I'm sorry, you were in the middle of speaking about
no,
how now rubbing shoulders with these folks is pretty surreal.
yeah, no, it is. I mean, that's, yeah, no, just the fact that, yeah, we're chatting, that we text, we talk, that Anno Domini is a friend of mine and business partner. That Russell, like I chat with him, like we text back and forth.
It's
I
crazy.
like, to me it's great, like that's insane to me. But it's incredible, and so I love that I get to be in this position where I get to kind of take what I'm learning over in kind of this marketing businessy world, and bring it to the music world.
Right.
So that's kind of how I see my role. And something that's interesting that you said is like, people try to do the same things over and over. Like we'll talk about music producers, right? Music
Sure.
producers, they look at, there's sort of been this one model for selling beats online for the most part. Like I mentioned, right? You try to rank for
Mm-hmm.
YouTube keywords, try to get some attention on social media, send it to your beat store, right? So people do that over and over because that's the tactic that they've seen work, and that's all they know. That's
Right.
there's nothing wrong with that, or I should say there's something wrong with that, but it's not your fault if you're doing that,
Sure.
because that's what you see. So of course, same thing like I did. That's what I'm going to model after, what I see people doing.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I've really learned from Russell specifically is that, instead of just learning the tactics and strategies, which are super important, meaning like the step-by-step little things, learn the principles behind why those things work.
Facts.
Learn the big
Facts.
picture, have some perspective of the history behind these, social media networks and different ways of driving traffic, and cycles of business. When you can step back and have that perspective and understand the principles behind why these things are working right now,
Right.
then you can double down on the things that are working right now, do those things, do those tactics, and understand that they are going to evolve. And as they do, you're going to be equipped to evolve with them. So like, you're going to understand why that old way used to work 5 years
Mm-hmm.
ago, and that was
Mm-hmm.
great, and that's why you should have been doing that. Now what you should be doing is using, sales funnels and the stuff that, that we, if people want to go to the video that we did, a little while ago, and
You'll
learn
get
more
all the
about that.
information you need for that one. Yeah, but I think
um,
that's an important component to this is understanding that it's those of you that you don't necessarily invest in what the mob or the majority of people are saying. It's those people who make those crucial pivots who say, this is where we need to go. This is where I need to go because I see this making a lot of sense, a lot more sense than what I'm already doing. I use, for example, YouTube, where we're on right now. YouTube, I don't know if you knew, used to be a video dating website when it first started.
I did not know that.
No, like it used to be a video dating website, and I'm sure they had an audience that was finding dates or was either desperate for love that were like, you guys can't change and make this a video service for everybody to upload to. Why would you do that? And then now look at where things are at. Now, I'm not saying they're perfect, but I'm saying the pivot is where everything starts to, the tipping point starts to occur for you. And I'm proud to see a lot of producers out here who have took on the sales funnels and, especially those who have made it their own. Because I know a lot of folks kind of just template it up and then you don't change anything and they're worried like, oh my God. But understanding the why of what you're doing is going to be a reoccurring theme that's going to bring you success, and no matter what you do. Because some of you guys today, this is no insult, but some of you guys today are choosing production as what you want to do. That may very well change. You may become extremely passionate and feel like your purpose is somewhere else. These skills that you learn are not going to go anywhere. They're going to be assets and things that you can add to your resume that are going to put you above, head above everybody else who's trying to go for the same position. So I just always love to give you props for that, because I feel like those who jump into the different things that you've presented and those who learn how to pivot are the ones who find a success. But that's the reason why it's not a large percentage of people who do find the massive amount of success, because a lot of folks don't want to change, man. A lot of folks are afraid of change. And
Right.
add on top of that, times like we're in right now, where
Yes.
everything is pointing to, man, just hunker down, take care of yourself and don't really worry about the internet. Don't worry about music. Like, just kind of sit around and wait. And I feel like that's the worst thing any music producer can do, especially if you identify yourself as an online music producer. The opportunity, especially right now, because everybody is home and because there's rappers that this is all they have. There are rappers out there like music is literally the last thing right now keeping them happy. The grocery store is out of toilet paper, paper towels. They can't get the food they normally get. They have to stay in the house because the government has issued in California curfews and things like that. Music is the last thing that's bringing them happiness, and you're part of that happiness as a music producer. So this is why I wanted to bring this conversation today, and I'm so glad that it aligns with where you're at right now, and really the next direction of where you want to take this community. Traffic. Traffic is something that every single time I jump here on a live stream, I guarantee I'm going to get a few questions, okay? 1, can you listen to my beats? 2, how do I get my first beat sale? 3, how do I drive traffic? And I feel like driving traffic will, 1, dismiss the need for can you listen to my beats, because I'm not your customer. You want to get the people who are actually going to be your customer. And 2, how do I get my first beat sale? Well, you have to give the opportunity for people to get in your system, your website, or whatever you got going on. You got to give them an opportunity to hear your beats and separate yourself from the mold. So I'm so glad today the discussion is driving traffic. Man, I want to get these folks some value, bro.
Yes.
I want to do that with you today. I want to have them leaving encouraged, and then also presented with an opportunity for them to get more in depth with it. But let's talk about driving traffic. What does driving traffic mean to you?
So driving traffic really just means getting your message in front of the people who need it. It means getting attention. It means having people see who you are. It means getting exposure. It means getting a wider fan base. It's getting your products and services and message out to the world. That's really what it means. And so the thing is, the people that need your products and services and message, they're there. They already exist. They're already congregating in places. They're getting together in different places. And so driving traffic just means figuring out where they are, and then how do you get your message in front of them, and how do you craft that message in a way that gets them from where they are to where you want to take them. That's sort of like the big picture. And so being able to do that is really kind of the key, because no matter how good your beats are, no matter how good the system is that you have set up on, once you get them off of, let's say, that social media platform or whatever, it doesn't really matter if you can't drive traffic in the first place. And
Right.
so for me, the ability to drive traffic is such a huge reason for why I've been able to do some of the things I've been able to do. And I just want to mention these just because, for people who don't know, it's not because I want to brag. It's because I want to make sure people pay attention. And some people, and in order for people to pay attention, I need to have a little credibility. So
Go
real
ahead and go
quick,
ahead and go ahead and brag. I need you to brag because if you don't, I'm
so,
gonna brag on you. But go ahead.
so real quick, so because we've been able to take advantage of some of these concepts like using sales funnels, because we've been able to understand the big picture behind traffic, we've been able to do things like we did the first six-figure launch in our industry, meaning we did, my goal was to do over $100,000 in sales in 1 week selling beats online. And that was my goal. And we ended up actually crushing that goal and doing over $200,000 in sales in 1 week selling beats online. And again, that's using these principles and tactics and strategies that we're going to talk about. And another thing that we've been able to do, if you're seeing this video, I've got this little plaque up here, and ironically, that plaque right there is not a record. It's not for albums sold. It's actually an award that ClickFunnels gives out when you generate over $1 million in revenue using a sales funnel. So that's something we've been able to do, is actually build a 7-figure business, $1 million business selling beats online. So I have to get that in there just because I know people are going to pay attention if they see what's possible. And so that's it. So I'm done bragging.
You're good because this is good because this is what I always kind of tell my viewers is like first, before you kind of choose to follow somebody's directions, please validate the source. Make sure that this person actually has seen success and then has seen success long enough to guide you. And not only have you done that, but I'm like, it's blowing my mind to see a flyer that has Russell Brunson, has Tony Robbins, who y'all know how much I appreciate and respect that man, and then Gabe on the same flyer. And I'm like, what is I'm not surprised, but I'm still like, that's just crazy that take your name away from it, take any of our names. The fact that a music producer is sharing that stage and people from all different types of businesses are learning from you. I don't look at it as you bragging. This is you telling, like, look, I wouldn't listen to me if I didn't have any kind of proof of concept. Same thing for me. It's the same thing they did for me when I first got on YouTube. They were like, yeah, you want to give, somebody called me an armchair philosopher. And I was like, I am offended. But it was okay, because it was like, okay, so who have you worked with? How can you give me information? Where's your success? And the beautiful thing about it was, while I was giving information, I did the successful thing over again by growing this YouTube channel and by aligning with people that they already respected for whatever reasons that they did. So it's like I showed you in real time, but also too, it's also validated by the fact that you have a trail, you have a history, and we got to give you your flowers, man. We got to give you your flowers as producers, because regardless of how, because I'm kind of seeing some of the dialogue in here, regardless of how people feel about funnels or whatever the case may be, this is advancing the culture. This is giving opportunities for folks who are interested in this way of doing things, an opportunity to go past what their goals or what may have been 5 years ago, 10 years ago, because this was unheard of in the industry 10, 15 years ago, to have this kind of success in doing this and to be able to drive traffic in the way that you have discussed. So there's another question that kind of popped up in the midst of this was, you're talking about driving traffic. Yes. Some folks are like, well, all traffic is not good traffic. Like, I can go pay Fiverr for, 10,000 views and da-da-da-da. How do you kind of address that when somebody's asking you about, okay, driving traffic is cool, but how do I ensure that I'm getting the right traffic for people that actually want to buy? I don't want a bunch of 14-year-old kids who have no credit or no money to be going to my beat store, listen to my beats and not buying. How do you kind of approach that kind of question?
Yeah, so it becomes thinking about how are you targeting. And so I like to zoom out a little bit and think about, first of all, who is that dream client, and get really clear about that. And, in the marketing world, we call that a customer avatar. And so what I recommend doing is getting really clear about that and actually creating a whole character, a whole person that you have in mind, and give this person a name, give them an age, where they live, their
Right.
background, give them a whole story of like, really, you can literally picture this exact one person,
I
right?
would even say Google an image and see if you can find somebody who looks exactly like them and start typing away.
Yes, I love that. I love that because that makes it more real. It makes it more tangible, right? And then you're thinking about this person, right? Think about what are their hopes, what are their dreams, what are their fears, what are the kind of music they listen to, what are their favorite movies, who do they follow on Instagram, all that kind of stuff, right? And the more that you know about that ideal customer, the more that you can now craft your message and ultimately get the right traffic. So the first thing though is like get really clear about who that person is and
Mhm.
understand that you're crap. And some people are like, oh, well, my music's for everybody. It's like, well, first of all, no, it's not. Second of all, the
Yeah.
way that you become successful is by niching down. And so you really want to niche down into, who exactly is that person, this one person. And when you speak to that person and you create your products and services for that one person and you use, your strategies and tactics for driving traffic for that one person
Right.
becomes really, really powerful. And what will end up happening is other people are going to pay attention. They're going to notice as well. But because you're so focused on that person, that's how you're going to actually be more authentic. That's how you're going to get the people
Mhm.
you want. And so like, if you think about, the way that you speak to different people, right? The way that I might be speaking here compared to the way that I might speak to, my parents, or the way I might speak to my friends or whatever, like we
Right.
speak in different ways, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. It's fine. It just depends on the situation and the person.
Sure.
That's how it works. And so what ends up happening is when you're not super, super clear on who that customer is, then all of a sudden you're going to get on, Instagram or Facebook or whatever, or write an email, and you're speaking in a way that's very generic because you're kind of like you're trying to talk to everybody at the same time.
Yep.
And so it doesn't come across as genuine. It doesn't come across as you having a real point,
Right.
because you're like, I don't really want to offend this person. And I don't know. But when you're speaking directly to that person, you've got your customer avatar. Now all of a
Mhm.
sudden you can be laser focused, and it really feels like you're having a conversation, right? So you get on a video and you're teaching a concept, you're teaching it to that person. You have that person in mind. So you're using the language. You no longer have to think about like who else is watching this or whatever. Like,
Right.
I'm just speaking to my customer avatar right now. Like, that's who I am talking to. So I'm not worried about all the other people like who aren't interested or they don't care or whatever. Like, it doesn't matter to me. Like, I'm talking to my person, so I can be very clear about the way that I'm speaking. And so not only does that determine the way that you speak, it determines your message. So meaning like if you're, posting content, the caption, the text on the image, like whatever it is, all that kind of stuff is focused towards that person.
Right.
And then also when you start getting into targeting, like let's say you're doing some paid ads, now all of a sudden when you understand who that dream client is, now you already know, well, I know who they're following, I know what their interests are, I know
Mhm.
all that stuff, I know their location, I know all those things. So now you can really hone in on that targeting, and that way you get the right people to actually come to your funnel, to your website, to your beats.
Right.
And so that would be the first thing I'd say about getting the right people is, first of all, you're saying, oh, I'm not getting the right people, but are you really clear about who that person is? Like really, really crystal clear? Because that's the first step to me, is get really
Yeah.
clear about who that person is.
And what would you say for somebody who says, "Well, I don't have any customers at all"? How do I kind of identify? What are some ways that I can identify uh, um, what any avatar is if I have never had any sales?
Yeah, so that's fine. Really what this is about is figuring out who do you want to serve. That's what's important here.
Hmm.
It's not who have you been serving, because a lot of
Sure.
times the people who you have been serving, let's say you do have a bunch of customers, you might not like those people. They might not be your ideal customer, right? Just because they've given you money doesn't make them your ideal customer.
Yeah,
Like,
there's some customers I remember. I'll never forget it. My first year selling beats, I was arguing with a customer, which is a big no-no. First of all, I was arguing with a customer in email, and it was over a $30 beat sale or beat purchase, and he wanted to get the price down to $13, and I was like, bro. Like after like 4 and 5 back and forth, I was like, I'm not changing the price. Like that's not what it is. You can even get a deal by getting 4 for $30. He was like, I don't, and he was like, come on, man. He's like, I think he's like, I'm 12 years old. You're wasting my time. And I was like, wow. So what I learned was there was something that psychologically about my pricing and my branding when it came to my ads that I put up that attracted that particular demographic, the younger demographic, who were like, yo, this is like this is a cool looking ad. Oh, this beat is crazy. I'm gonna hit them up and see if I can get it for 50% off. You know what I mean? So
Right.
that's very important, is identifying who do you want to speak to. Like, I don't always use the homie Superstar O as an example, is that every one of his beats, especially when I first started following him, were like Lamborghini this. They were like, luxury this. Who do you think he's attracting by having these sort of luxury brands be branded with his beats? He's attracting the kind of customers he wants, that have money, or at least aspire to be in that position, and they're willing to invest into themselves. And so it's no wonder why he was still is one of the biggest names in the online producer community. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I just want to make sure before we get too deep into this that, we've been talking a lot sort of big picture strategy, the theory and all that stuff I think is so, so important. In a lot of ways, I think it's the most important, but I want to make sure we get real tactical, at least, before we get too deep
let's
into
do it.
this.
No, let's do it. Let's do it. I want to follow your lead on that one too. Please do.
Yeah. So one thing that I want to say about, okay, so, and we can tie it right into making sure that you get your exact, dream client. We'll get deeper into like, how do we get this attention in the first place? But one thing that you want to do is you want to optimize your profile. Because here's the thing, whatever you're doing, let's assume that the way that you're getting traffic is on these different platforms, right? Or whether if it's YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever, it doesn't matter. Whatever that platform is, the idea is you're going to bring people in, and eventually they're going to go over to your profile. So I just want to talk about how we can optimize your profile. So once you get them there, now you can actually,
so
get
important.
them to do the thing you want them to do. So a couple things to keep in mind. First of all is your name. So let's just use Instagram as an example. You want to have ideally your name. So there's actually two things on Instagram. There's your handle, like at Legion Gabe, and then there's also your name. And those are actually two different things. If you notice, if you go to like your Instagram profile, there's the at, and then there's sort of like the name. And so what most people do is they put the same thing in both, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the problem with that is you're not taking advantage of those two different spaces. First of all, Google, the biggest search, engine in the world, I'm sure I don't need to tell anybody that, indexes exactly two things off of Instagram, meaning they don't scrape the captions, they don't scrape the comments. So if you Google something and somebody wrote something in a comment or a caption, Google doesn't care. They only scrape two things, and that's your handle and your name.
Wow.
So you can actually, by using that name, you can actually rank in Google. And so what you want to do under your name is make sure you're talking about the value that you can bring. So like for us, I've got Legion Gabe and I've got Legion Beats. I've got two different Instagram profiles. On Legion Beats, you'll notice two things. One is the name is Legion Beats. So it's pretty clear just from the name that we provide beats, right? So that is something that I recommend, not necessary, but if you can put the thing that you provide, the value that you provide in the name itself, that's really going to help. So that way, no matter where it is, whether if you're leaving a comment, liking something, anything, whenever your name pops up, people go like, oh, beats, this guy's got beats. Cool. So that would be first thing.
What's some other ways if you can grab some examples, what's some other ways to kind of show what it is that you do? Because I think a lot of folks probably already have beats within their names. What are like some ways you could just think of off the top of your head?
Yeah. So as far as in that, like your handle, so you might do beats, you might do productions, you might do music, you might do, entertainment is a little more broad. I'm trying to think off the top of my head, but something that when people look at it, they might be like, oh, that's a thing I need,
This is
and
me.
then you can get even more specific when it gets to your name, meaning not your handle, but your name. And that's where you really want to say, so like for us, I'd have to pull it up to see exactly what it says, but it says something like, we provide, beats, hooks, mixing and mastering, promotion, right? We talk about all the services that we provide. And now we're doing two things. One is that's being indexed by Google, so that will pop up for those search terms. And the other thing is, as soon as somebody comes to our profile, because we've been getting attention, we'll talk in a second about how we get that attention in the first place. Right. They come over here and now immediately they're seeing, here's my value proposition. Here's the thing that I have that's going to be of value to my ideal customer. And it's not just beats, we do provide these other things, right? So think about for you, what is your value proposition? So now this is now going back to, okay, who is your ideal customer? So get very clear about who that is and what's the result you're trying to get them. That's really where it all starts. And when you get really clear about those things, now you can fill in all the blanks. So
Yeah.
the result you're trying to, right? So now you, in that name, you can do things like, here's the different services I provide. Maybe you do mixing and mastering, promotion, whatever. Maybe it's that you have the best boom bap beats in the world and you talk about that. Maybe it's that you do, so maybe it's genre specific. Maybe it's that the type of beats you make are, uplifting or whatever. Like whatever your brand is about, maybe for you, your beats are one thing, but it's actually that you talk about, motivation and mental health. And that's why people love you. And yes, your beats are this thing that you're putting out there, but then I would
Right.
put right there, we provide beats and, learn how to get your mind right. Whatever it is
Is
that
there
I would take advantage of that.
is there a character limit on that name? Not the handle, but the name itself. Have you seen like a character limit with that?
I'm sure there is. I don't know the number off the top
Okay.
of my head, but there
Well,
definitely is.
but I think that's genius. I think the fact that I didn't know that Google scrapes for those two things first, because I would have thought that maybe the hashtags or maybe the captions themselves kind of trigger that search engine algorithm. But it makes so much sense. Is that when I type it, even as I typed in your name to make sure I had the right one, because I have a few different, like I have your Twitter handle, and I was like, okay, which way? Let me figure out which one. When I ran a Twitter search and I put your name, those are the first things that jumped up when I put Gabe and Legion Beats. And so I can only imagine somebody who is, say Ralph, who's a producer, Ralph Beats, but in his name he puts Ralph Melodic Loops. What that could mean for him, or say your name is Prime Beats or something like that. I think I actually know what Prime Beats, but like Prime Melodic Loops, that has something to do with, like you said, as Google is kind of going through there. But oh man, that's definitely some actionable things that people can walk away with. Okay, you were getting into
Yeah.
something else as well, right?
Yeah, and so just working your way through, and this, I'm using Instagram as an example, but this works on any
Any
profile.
platform.
Some of the
Okay.
slight differences, like some might not have the difference between a handle and a name, but a lot of them do. But the next thing is going to be your bio, right? Basically, any social media platform, doesn't matter if it's, again, LinkedIn, Facebook, something
Right.
that hasn't been invented. Like they all have some version of all these things. So next thing is your bio, right? And you want to make sure in your bio that you're doing a few things. One is you're saying, so we talked about who's your dream client, what's the result you're trying to get them. So that would be pretty much the first line of your bio. What's the result you're trying to get them? So
Right.
for me, for Legion Beats, my story, my brand there is kind of what I talked about earlier, which is I kind of started from the music industry side of things. I switched over to the, building my own brand side of things. And that's where I had all the success. And so the message that I bring to artists is, hey, I want to help provide you with all these incredible tools and resources that are available so that you can take control for your own success, right? And so basically, if you look at Legion Beats, if you look at the first line of our bio, it says something like, we help artists take their career to the next level or something like that,
I'm
right?
looking at it right now. It says Legion Beats, and it says uh, I don't know exactly what that. I think it's a category. It says music production studio, and it says we help artists take their career to the next level. And you
Right.
literally laid out all these different searchable names and items. Like for instance, you guys have worked with Kendrick Lamar, Snoop, and more. It says Hicks. It says a hooks mix. I've mixed together hooks and okay, that's another statement. Hooks, mix, and promo, and then there's a get 5 free beats link within there. But you lay it out. You lay it out to where it even though you have the desire to obviously take advantage of Google in the way that they, like you said, they kind of scrape things, it still is something that looks appealing and it makes sense for somebody who's enjoying you just from an Instagram experience and has never searched through Google. So it's like it's transferable through both, which is dope.
Yes, absolutely. And when people come to find you, once you've gotten that attention, now they see exactly the value that you bring. And then the last thing in that is the call to action, right? What's the thing that you're having them do? How are you now taking them from that platform to where you really want to take them to? And so
Mm-hmm.
this takes us to a really important concept in traffic, which is again, this comes from Russell Brunson, but this idea of there's traffic that you don't control, there's traffic that you control, and there's traffic that you own. So traffic that you don't control
Mm.
is like somebody searching, for something and you pop up and like, that's cool. Like you don't really control that, right? Traffic you control is you pay Mark Zuckerberg, who owns Facebook, for some ads. And now, he'll show that ad to somebody and now you can control and somebody will do that. Traffic you own is ultimately where you want to get everybody. And traffic you own means really that they're no longer on these platforms that other people own. They're on a platform that you own. And there's really, that I can think of, really just two of those things, which is email and
Yes, sir.
text. That's
In
pretty
text.
much it.
Okay.
That's pretty much it. You could argue podcasts because that one's kind of, not platform specific.
Right.
Facebook Messenger is like cool, but it's still owned by Mark Zuckerberg. But anyways,
Right.
really, it's
And I think what is it? ManyChat just got bought out by Facebook, if I'm correct. And it get bought out, somebody bought out ManyChat, and they started offering a text messaging service for those who want to build a community within it.
Yeah, I do know that ManyChat offers SMS now. I didn't. That's news to me if Facebook bought it, but
I gotta look at that
but they
again.
might have. But I can
Yeah.
tell you that the rules of Messenger have changed drastically from the last couple of years. And let's circle back to that because
I don't want to get to. That's just me having a discussion, forgetting that we're in a room full of individuals. But I mean, that's stuff is important because this is traffic that you can control. So one more time, just to get people reminded, the three categories that traffic falls in. This is where we start slicing mini content. Go ahead.
Yeah. So three types of traffic that exist in the world, right? There's traffic that you don't control, traffic you control, and traffic you own. And your whole job is to take traffic that you don't control and traffic you control and convert it into traffic you own. That's your number one goal. That's the whole goal of traffic. Right. And so to define those three different types of traffic you don't control is stuff like somebody, is like search based, like somebody searches on Google and you pop up, right? There's certain things you can do to help rank, but essentially you don't control that. Right. There's traffic you do control, and that's when you pay a paid ad platform like Facebook, or you pay a website to display a banner ad or something like that. That's traffic you control because now you're paying somebody, and when they click that, it goes exactly where you want them to go. Okay. Now the whole goal is to turn that into traffic you own, and traffic you own means that you can actually talk to those people whenever you want without having to pay somebody else, without that being on somebody else's platform that they own. And really the best two ways, the only two ways, and you could argue different things, but essentially the only two ways that you can do that is if you have somebody's email address or their phone number, and then you can email or text them. And that's not platform specific. You can take that email address and you can take it wherever you want. You could hit them up on Gmail. You can use a different email provider. You can, whereas those Instagram followers, you want to take those off to somewhere else, like good luck. No. That's not.
There's a reason why there's not a MailChimp integration in Instagram, and why there's a reason for that. You would think like you guys are so behind, but no, all the social medias have agreed at some level. Well, I shouldn't say all of them because Facebook does a really good job of making sure. But a lot of these social medias have made it to where they want your ass to stay where you're at. They want you on Instagram and to stay on Instagram. And I even saw a feature in the Explore page in which it's such a subtle shift, a subtle change. Maybe you noticed it. I don't know the last time you've been on the Explore page, but they used to make it to where you look at a post, and as you're going through the different posts, you see a preview of the next post. They made it now to where there's like 80% opacity for the next post. And it makes you even more curious because if you think you already know what's coming up next, then you're not going to be on there. So basically what I'm saying is this. They're not making it so that you can have these customers that you get through using the ads on these platforms or through getting your content. They're making it so that these are not forevers for you. They're making it so that it is while you're here, you have access to them. But even then, we're going to determine you know what? Based upon our algorithm, we don't think we want to show this to 90% of the rest of your folks on there. So as Gabe is showing you, it's important to get these folks over to a platform that is a little bit, I don't even a little bit, significantly more durable. And email, what has been more durable than email? Email has been sitting inside of a room looking out the window and watching MySpace burn up. It's sit and watch Friendster burn up. It's sat and watch Black Planet burn up. I've seen all these websites that were the it thing at that point in time, and it just, email was like, yo, baby, I'm right over here. I'm not going nowhere. And now with SMS, it's becoming even more to where you're talking about instead of getting an average of 30% click or open rate or 15, 20%, now you're talking about 90% because it is like literally instantly there. I'm starting to get myself in a position where I want to build a community through text messaging because once again, even with email, there can be some obstacles, especially producers that are using emails that they never use for anything else, just to send out MailChimp emails, or they're just sending a bunch of spam stuff that people don't want to open up. Well, guess what Gmail does eventually? They say, nobody's opening up this email, fam. Nobody's interested in this because of your approach, and people are sending you to your spam folder. So then what happens is that you start to kind of lose that forever. So always be on the cutting edge of this stuff and realize that there are certain platforms that are more durable. There are certain platforms that are made specifically for you to keep your customers and make them your forever. So thank you for breaking that down. You don't have to break down the definitions, but one more time, please tell them the 3 types of traffic, because this is the basis of why you're here.
For sure. So there's traffic that you don't control, traffic you control, and traffic you own.
Never heard anybody break it down like that. Is any of this stuff kind of like something? I know the last time we talked, you had kind of like translated a lot of the information from Russell. Is this something that's yours? Is it something that you kind of
that's purely Russell Brunson.
That's Russell Brunson.
I think hopefully I said that before. Yes, that is a Russell Brunson concept. Okay. That's 100% his words. That's his concept. Absolutely. So that's something that I've got from him. And really, something that I've been able to do, and me and Anno Domini have been able to do is take these concepts that we learned specifically from Russell Brunson and translate them into the world of music. And that's why we've been able to have so much success. And that's so honestly, if you hear me say anything smart, chances are I learned it from Russell. Like I'll just put that disclaimer over the entire thing.
Nah, you're an intelligent individual, and I know a lot of people, man. That was something that I was so surprised about when it came to the way that you introduced ClickFunnels, our funnels to the producer realm. I remember sitting in there in the live stream, the webinar, and mind you, like you and I had some contact, but it wasn't anything to where we had actually built up business together. And I was just there as a producer. As a producer that was in a position, I was like, you know what? I've been selling beats one way. I'm curious of knowing another way. I remember sitting in the webinar, and it's funny because I'm looking at some of the questions. I'm looking at a lot of folks who are definitely all ears, but then a lot of folks in here sometimes, it's just anytime you get in the live stream, they're skeptical of everything. Oh my God, no, it's something else. Now you want to come out, you want to try to get me for something during the coronavirus, and it's understandable. But I'll tell you this: when it came to the point of putting myself in a situation where I'm investing and not betting on anything that is presented by Gabe, investing in myself, it's all money in. It's never even a question. I'm going to do that. And so that's what I did the first go around. But there is a reason that we're hearing, so much about the traffic, while we're hearing, why we are pushing so heavy for you guys to start to think about the different types of traffic. Was there any other reason, or not reason, was there any other topics that you wanted to discuss before we give the producers that have hung out with us a special opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, oh man, I could talk
about, and I know it's a lot more stuff that you can get into too.
Why don't we do this? Because I do want to talk about. I think what you're alluding to is okay. So let me give a little context, because I think maybe we can talk about that book that's coming out, or that,
sure.
that and then maybe also continue to give a little value after that as well. Because
I want to make sure. Yeah, I want to definitely do that. And I think that for those of you that are here, thank you first of all for the 217. Look at y'all, 217 folks that are in here live. I'm sure the number has went up and down since we've been up in here, but it's back up again. And I think it's lovely to see folks going in and out of here. They got to acknowledge y'all for being in here. Thank you so much for those that are within here. Timeless Music, Rudy B, Sarah, Cyril, I believe you pronounce your name, AKW Beats, Deal to Respect. I see a lot of the same names that were in here earlier. Cloud9, that's the deal.
I recognize some of the MIDI Money gang in there. Shout out to my MIDI Money gang.
There it is.
Appreciate you guys coming out.
And shout out to y'all who are actually in here helping out one another, because this is the basis of what anything that you see. I don't do these kind of conversations very often, but I do come in, and every time you see me and Gabe on camera, please understand that it's something that those of you who have already took advantage of it, you know what that means. When he and I jump on here, there is an urgency. There is a situation in which we want to help and provide value. So I want Gabe to get into what he was getting ready to get into, and then we want to make sure that you guys leave with value and leave feeling better about where things are at and how to drive traffic, then maybe you came in here with your worries and concerns about COVID-19. So let's go ahead and discuss it.
Okay, so to give a little context, we've been talking a lot about Russell Brunson. .com Secrets, I mentioned this book has completely changed my life, and essentially the framework that he talks about in this, the whole concept of sales funnels, of creating true offers, of a value ladder, all these things was what I used in order to build Legion Beats into a 7-figure business, in order to be able to make $1 million, in order to do that 6-figure launch, all those things that I was able to do, that both me and Anno Domini separately each were able to do, was by following the frameworks in this book. Now, what's interesting, Russell came out with the second book. It's called Expert Secrets. And this book is all about how to essentially take your expertise, take the things that you have learned how to do, and then teach them to other people. And this is the framework. This is the playbook that me and Anno Domini use to create MIDI Money, which is now, I'm so proud to say, is something that's really changing the landscape for producers everywhere. So that's the impact that this book has had, right? So you can imagine how excited, how important it was to me when I found out that Russell was releasing his third book, and it's called Traffic Secrets. And that book is available right now for pre-order. And I believe in this book so much. I've been listening to the audiobook. It's like, it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And it's been fun for me chatting with Russell too, and talking about it as I read, which is like,
slight flex.
Yeah, slight flex, but it's just it's so surreal to me, like how many times I have read both these books and listened to the audiobooks for both of these books, and gotten so much out of it. And now I'm in a position where I can like chat with him about it. Anyways, it's incredible. And so his new book is available for pre-order right now. You can get the audiobook right now. And I believe in it so much that for anybody who orders the book through the link that you're about to share with them, we've actually put together over $700 worth of free bonuses. Now, keep in mind, this is a $10 book, $10 to buy this book. And we're going to give you over $700 in free bonuses just for buying the book through our link.
One more time.
So the book is $10, and we're going to give you over $700 worth of free bonuses just for buying it through this link. And so
you always come here bearing gifts. You always come here very, 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 like, can we please give him his flowers, give him whatever emoji you want to throw up. Please thank this man for coming in here. Not only has he been sharing his own information, but to share someone that has had an influence on him, and then come in here only to give you more value. Please give my man's his props. And I'm saying y'all do that. But yeah, continue. I'm sorry. You said $10.
No,
okay,
please,
go ahead.
And so the book's $10. You should get it no matter what. Like hopefully, if nothing, you see the value that I've gotten from his last two books. Like get the new one. And so some of the bonuses. And if you go to, I want to make sure I have the right link here. Do you have it in front of you?
I'm gonna actually do this as you're doing that. It's gonna look a little weird, but I'm gonna jump in here to OBS, and I want to make sure that I have the information. So right now they'll kind of see us, but it's important that I get them to see the link on screen. So I meant to do that before, but it's gonna look a little crazy right now. So please forgive me for the lack of professionalism. Producers in here. Okay, here we go, right in here. So if you look in the description, you'll see the link, but I'm gonna make it super visual to where you guys can actually see it. Copy the link address.
So I think I see it. Here. It's legionbeats.com /producer traffic. So if you guys go there, you're gonna see all the bonuses. You're gonna see all the dope stuff that's in there. And so one of the 5 bonuses that you're gonna get is an ebook called The Beat Traffic Blueprint. And this I'm super excited about. I reached out to the top, the people that I respect the most in our community. And so, for example, Curtis King contributed to this book and talked about how he drives traffic. Busyworks Beats, who I saw was in here earlier, contributed to this book. DJ Payne 1, Wishmaster Beats, Big Shot Beats. I could go on and on. So many producers that I have so much respect for are in this book, this ebook called Beat Traffic Blueprint, which, to be clear, is just one of the free bonuses you get when you order Russell's book, Traffic Secrets. And you do that by going to legionbeats.com/producer-traffic. So that's just one of
Just
the 5 free bonuses.
One of the, oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm actually transitioning this to where it'll look a little bit better on camera. And I'm using
Now, let me get into, should I tell them bonus number 2? Should we get into bonus number 2?
Why don't you do that? Why don't you go ahead and do that, my good sir?
Okay, so when you go to legionbeats.com/producer-traffic, you are also going to see bonus number 2. And bonus number 2 is a course that I'm going to be creating on the fly. So like I mentioned, I'm listening to the audiobook as we speak. And by the way, I recommend, you'll see an option when you go to buy Traffic Secrets to buy the audiobook. And I would highly recommend it, because otherwise you have to wait for them to ship out the books. It's going to take a little while for them to ship it out. Personally, I love listening to audiobooks anyways. I listen to way more audiobooks than I read. I'm able to do it while I'm driving or working out or whatever. And it's just how I like to take in information. So I highly recommend you take the option to get the audiobook. And that way you can start listening to it right away. Otherwise, you have to wait for it to ship out and whatever.
Right.
But that brings me to bonus number 2. And bonus number 2 is, as I listen through the audiobook, I'm going to be creating a course that's called Traffic Secrets Explained. And basically what this is I mentioned that by reading .com Secrets and by listening to this audiobook, right, I was able to take the concept that he talked about and apply that to music, apply that to selling beats online. And that's how I was able to get to where I am today. Me and Dan O'Donnell, both of us, we did that. And then same thing with Traffic Secrets. I was able to apply that. That's how we were able to build MIDI money. And so what I'm doing with Traffic Secrets is, as I go through it, I'm actually going to take the information that Russell teaches, take those concepts, and I'm going to teach them. I'm going to synthesize that information. I'm going to translate into, for you in music as a producer, exactly how to apply that to your business. So we're actually going to be doing that in real time together. It's almost like creating a course in real time, and it's like a book club or something, where it's like we're reading through this book. Right. Which, by the way, there's never been a better time right now than to listen to an audiobook.
I'm saying, you guys got the time. You got time today. Really quick question. I think it's a really good question. If it says it was by Beat Shotters. He said, Gabe, if we buy the book, do we have to wait until it ships in May to get the bonus material you're offering?
Yeah, so great question. So the answer is no, you don't have to wait. So you get instant access. I will say that we are in the process. So for example, this course that I'm talking about, we're literally creating in real time as I listen to it. So that course isn't technically there yet. You'll see when you go into the little members area that you get when you get the bonus, that it's, there's a little write-up, and so I'll come out with that first section really soon. Same thing with like the Beat Traffic Blueprint, depending on when you're watching this, that one's like almost wrapped up. We'll have that probably up there in the next few days. But essentially all the other things, you will have access to everything, instantly or as we create it. So as soon as you create the purchase, you'll see the directions for how to do whatever. You just email us.
You got 30 days locked down right now. If anybody is around here that is in California or just in the U.S. alone, I'm pretty sure you got some form or some shape or form of, we got to stay home and social distance in this time that we have to do that. Please. I mean, this is not even just a plea for you just to go here and to cop this book. This is a plea for you to make the most of your time. If you're going to be doing anything, read something, right? I just want you to use this time to walk out of this quarantine, this lockdown, a new individual. And so whatever piques your interest, just do me a favor that you'll actually read that book you've been putting off. But if you are interested in this specifically, I mean, my gosh, you invest in the pre-order of a $10 book, and in essence, after that, you're going to be getting material that is going to probably take you longer to get through for free than the duration of the time that you have here. I think this is a great time to work on you, work on your business. Work on what's going to happen after this, because storms are meant to pass, and this is no different, my friends. There's going to come a time where you're going to look up and you're not going to forget. You're going to never forget about this. You'll be talking about this 40 years from now, but there's going to come a time where you're going to get right back to life, and it's like, oh, what? Wait a minute, I got to go back to school, or I got to go back to work. And we're back to regular schedule program, probably washing our hands a little bit more frequently, but you're going to be back to regular schedule program. And so you have been given an opportunity, if you choose to view it as such. I know there's a lot of folks out here who are very nervous about this time. This is an opportunity if you choose to take it. And not just this, just anything. If you choose to launch upon your ideas, this is the time to learn email marketing. This is the time to learn affiliate marketing. This is the time to learn anything that you feel like could advance you when things start to kind of level themselves out. Please do that. Don't sit here doing what most of folks, at least in America, I know, or probably just the world, are doing. They're sitting by waiting for updates, nervous as hell. How am I going to do the things I need to do? When you have the opportunity to just take your own destiny by the hands, and not even by the hands, by the throat. Say, I want you to do this. It's time to work. It's time to get there. Gabe, thank you, man. Thank you so much for giving, first of all, on a human level, giving producers hope to look to. And then two, on a business end, giving them the opportunity to get a glimpse of something that even folks in the marketing field will not have too much access to until that book ships. So there's an opportunity when you go in there, and you get a little bit more explanation when you follow the link that you see below me, to even get if you want to get that audio or the book, the audio version, you can get that right then and there. But then in addition to that, like once again, I think you mentioned two of the value pieces that you're giving, but you're getting so much free value in essence, and stuff that is being created in real time. So I'm sure that after we even take some of your questions, it's probably going to shift some more, which is good because it stays active, it stays up to date. But yeah, Gabe, thank you, bro. Thank you. You down to take some questions?
Bro, I would love to. Absolutely. 100%. And by the way, I should mention, we only got to 2 out of the 5 bonuses. So you have to go to that link just to see what's there. It's crazy. It's crazy.
So for those of you out there that have questions, this is the time now. I'm taking all you skeptics. I'm taking all of you curiosity type folks. This is the time. You know, I ain't never avoided any kind of question or any kind of thing, because when I jump on here, I make sure that it counts. I make sure that the folks that, that choose to, I mean, Gabe, man, I got Gabe in here, bro. Like Gabe's a rock star right now, man. Come on, man. I'm just trying to, let me open up on your show, man. You the rock star, man, bro. Come on, man. Midi Money, man.
Shout out to you.
So, Classy Beats said, I'm sorry, Mikey Murdoch said, would you guys recommend waiting until you're happy with your beats, or just start selling them to get the practice and habits going? I'm only 1 year in, but super eager to start marketing. What do you think, Gabe?
So I think that's a great question. So here's the thing is, I think that there's so much emphasis in our community on just working on your craft of making beats. Now, here's the thing. If you want to get better at making beats, you should practice making beats. Facts. It's so that's how it works. It's so right. It's so important. If you want to learn how to make a living from your beats, if you want to learn how to build a business from your beats, you need to practice making a living from your beats. That's the only way it's going to happen, right? It's the same thing. So I highly, highly recommend, don't wait. It's so common and so sad that I see over and over that people use the excuse, and I'm sorry to say it, but it's an excuse of, well, I don't have enough beats yet. My beats aren't good enough. So I'm not even going to try to learn this skill of building a business, of trying to sell my beats, because what ends up happening is, guess what? You're never going to get there. By the time you're going to get there, you're going to be burnt out. And maybe you're to the point where I was, man, I was so close to quitting. I'm so grateful that I didn't. Yeah. But you don't understand. You guys don't understand how close I was to quit. I'd made the decision to quit multiple times, and then was like, I guess I'll come back to it or whatever. But my point is, don't let that happen to you. I've seen it over and over where people with so much talent and they spend so much time on just their craft of making beats, which of course is important. Do that. Please do that. But if that's all you focus on, you're never going to be able to make a living doing what you love. And that's the skill that I want you to practice as well. So absolutely, there's no better time than right now.
Come on.
Start practicing the skill of how to build your business, of how to get your message in front of people, of how to drive traffic, of how to, talk to your customers, all those things. You need to be learning both those skills at the same time, because guess what? There are hundreds of thousands of producers who are really, really good at that skill of making beats, but they can't make a living doing it because they haven't practiced. They're not good at the skill of making a living from making beats. That's the message. That's my job. That's what I see my role in this community, is to get people excited about that, to educate people about that, and to show people the importance of that so that they can do the thing that they love. because they got excited about the marketing, because they
Yes,
learned
sir.
about the marketing, because they started practicing it, and they realized that those two skills are the things that are actually going to give them the financial freedom, the freedom to do what they want, the
Facts.
freedom and ability to make money doing what they love, the freedom and ability to make money right now when everybody's locked in their house. People
Mm-hmm.
are worried about the economy more than ever. Like, my business is better than ever, and I hesitate to say that because I want to be, sympathetic and empathetic to all of the pain and suffering that's going on right now. But I also think it's so important to get it out to you guys, specifically as producers, so that you understand the opportunity that's available to you right now, so that you understand that this is a way that you can provide for your like I provide for my family, for my people, for my, my 10 employees. Like, they rely on me to make a living. I rely on them, but the point is, we are able to do what we love. We're right now not only surviving, but thriving because of this skill. So
Yeah.
that's my long-winded answer of,
It's all
yeah.
good. It's all good because I said it the other day in a live stream. I said, isn't it amazing that at one point in time, doing what you and I do, making a living off of music, off of our ability to market our music, our ability to build up our own infrastructure, that used to be looked as a risky thing to do. And now with so many people, and I'm not making light of this by any means, but with so many people having question marks next to their secure job, now they're looking to this and saying, I should have just launched that damn idea. I should have launched that. I had this business already. I started a website, and because I couldn't get the template quite perfect, I just stopped, or I just got discouraged. This is a time to do it. If you've ever been given an alley-oop, and this is why I say if you choose to view it like this, because there's a lot of folks out here who can make a great argument for why we should be worried and why we should be concerned and not be worried about our businesses and anything else except for our health and our family. There's a lot of folks who can make a really great argument for that. But at the same time, that there are no absolutes. There are no absolute truths in this. You have to look at this, and if you choose to look at this, you'll see the alley-oop that life has thrown you. If you've been procrastinating and putting off, well, I know I should get into, getting my beats, selling them set full time. I know I should, one day make a living at this. And I know I should do maybe a funnel, something. I should get into that. This is where all your shoulds become halves to, because now the things that you had to rely upon as security are no longer the same things they are today. So I would say this, no matter what it is that you choose to get into, this is just general big brother advice from Curtis. No matter what it is that you choose to get into, just do something. Do something. You learn more from failure. You learn more from doing than you do sitting around philosophizing about, oh my goodness, oh yeah, maybe this could happen, or watch another naysayer say, well, you can't do this. The people who actually do know more. And that doesn't require you to have an exorbitant amount of clout. It just requires you to have action and experience behind what you're doing. So if this is what you desire to do, Gabe said it perfect. Get in there and start doing it. Classy Beats said, hey, Gabe, I have a few hundred people on my email list, and I'm currently building a funnel to generate traffic. I have $100 that I want to use on Facebook ads. Where should I start? I'm pretty sure you get this one pretty free often.
Yeah. So it's a great question. So as far as Facebook ads, Facebook and Instagram ads, and just so everybody knows, so Mark Zuckerberg owns Facebook. He also owns Instagram. He also owns WhatsApp, which is a very popular messaging app, especially outside of the US. He owns something called the Audience Network. He owns Facebook Messenger. And essentially between all of these different platforms, he has, the last estimate I heard was about 3 billion daily users that he can reach.
Sheesh.
So to put that in some context, there's what is it, 7 billion people in the world, something like that?
5 billion, I think, last time I checked. Yeah.
Okay. God. So something like that. And, a lot of those people are like babies and old people, right? So essentially, every single one of your dream customers, Mark Zuckerberg can get your message in front of right now. And so what's really cool is if you give Mark Zuckerberg a little bit of money, he'll do that for you. And so this is one of the most incredible opportunities that we have, as far as tactics that work right now. And so there's kind of 3 ways that you want to think about your audience as far as your targeting on Facebook. Because that's usually like the first, and I'm using Facebook as, again, like shorthand for Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, all these properties. So it's the Facebook Ads Manager. And so the first question people have is, well, how do I target, right? And there's three categories of targeting. And the first one is the one that almost everybody thinks of, and it's actually the least important, but it's kind of where you need to start, which is interest-based targeting. And so that's where, taking it all the way back to what we started with, who exactly is your dream client comes in, right? So what are the other interests they might have? So some of the interests they might have are other producers that are selling beats online. Some of the interests they might have, assuming you're a producer, we're talking about rappers and singers, some of the interests they might have are music distributions like CD Baby, DistroKid, TuneCore, stuff like that. Some of the interests that they might have could be different types of equipment, maybe Chaotica eyeballs or different types of microphones, stuff like that. Think about what are all the different interests, world star hip hop, I don't know, whatever. What are all the interests that they might have? And that's where you start, because that's kind of what you have to start with, is interest based. Now, from there, what you start building are your custom based. This is the second category, second out of three categories that I'm talking about. So we have interest based. Second one is your custom or retargeting. Those, I use those interchangeably, custom or retargeting audiences. And essentially your customer retargeting audiences are people who have interacted with you and your brand in some kind of way. And Facebook tracks this in multiple different ways. So you can install your Facebook pixel on your funnel, on your beat store, on all these kinds of things. They also keep, so anybody who's touched any of those pages, visited any of those pages, have now been pixeled. They've now been tracked by Facebook. Anybody who's interacted with your Instagram, anybody who's interacted with your Facebook, anybody who's watched videos on those platforms, anybody who's on your email list, you can actually, that's another place where that list becomes so important. You can download that list from whatever email service provider you're using and upload it to Facebook, and it will find those people on Facebook. So now you've got your custom or your retargeting audience. Again, that's everybody on your list. That's everybody who's visited any type of funnel or site or store or anything presence you have online, and anybody who's interacted in any way with your Facebook or Instagram page. And now those people are way better than those interest-based ones, right? Because they've already had some kind of interaction with you. So they're now going from cold to a little bit warmer,
yes.
To use the terminology as far as audiences and traffic. You've got cold, you've got warm, you've got hot traffic. And so cold is like, they don't know who the hell you are, right? Warm is they have some idea of who you are. And hot is like, they know who you are. They know the specific products and services that you're offering, right?
Right.
So now you've got them into warm. And those are your custom, those are your retargeting audiences. And so those audiences you're going to see perform really, really well. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. I was going to say really quick, and it seems like a lot of producers spend all of their budget just on the code. And by the time there's an opportunity to retarget and to go find those people who already said, okay, I separate myself from the herd. I hear what you're saying. I like what I'm hearing. I read what you wrote in your caption. Yo, I'm just not ready today. Or I'm a little bit on the fence. If you had an opportunity, think about it in real life. If you had an opportunity where you're setting up a stand in front of a grocery store and you sell like a Girl Scout cookie girls, right? You just set up a station and you got something you're selling and somebody walks by the table. Everybody's ignoring you. Most folks are ignoring you, right? They just see you popped up there. They don't care. They don't want to be sold to. Then somebody says, man, you selling cookies? Oh, man, I was kind of hungry, but I don't need these cookies. And then they walk inside the store. Wouldn't you rather put some kind of advertisement or get that person's attention than the person that ignored you 10 minutes ago? Then on top of that, if you still have budget left, now you're saying, hey man, I understand that you're watching your weight and you don't really want to have some cookies, but guess what? These don't really have a lot of carbs, man. They're really actually kind of good for you. So come on back here and check us out. The man goes back to the table. And now he is pumped up because now he feels like you're talking directly to him. And this is why you don't want to spend all of your money just in getting, because I think a lot of producers spend emotionally even with their ads. They're like, nobody cares what I'm doing or nobody is buying into what I'm doing. I need to advertise to everybody and get some kind of, so any kind of views are good or any kind of engagement is good. But it's like you got people who are going to be, as Gabe said, a little bit more warmer than the average person that saw what you got going on, and you can bring them back to your table and even maximize what they're going to invest into. Because I'll tell you this, when people are diehards for what you got going on, like you have right now with your Midi Money group, and I feel like I'm part of Midi Money group too. So like I feel like I was a very early member in it. But what you have going on with it is the fact that you have people who understand the value and they're very, very much like going to tell other people about what you have going on. So those are the folks you want. You guys want to invest your money, the majority of your money, into people that can become diehards. We go back to the whole 1,000 true fans model. You want the diehards. A lot of folks are not going to be there. They're just going to be casual onlookers. But don't burn your money through cold audiences thinking that that's, that's how I'm moving the needle. Can I acknowledge some of the folks that already, Classy Beats, who asked the question? He actually went and copped the book, so shout out to him.
Hey, shout out. Congratulations.
Cyril Jules, he said, hold up, I was tuned out due to purchasing the book. Shout out to you. This is not about the book, but Amart said, I launched my funnel yesterday, already got a sale. Congratulations, my friend. Tyra, shout out to Tyra White. She is someone that definitely always comes in with really positive energy. And Tyra White said, I'm curious, so I ordered the book. Only spent $9.95. I'm going to give you a chance, bro. Although beat making is a hobby for me, I'm very curious. And that's the beautiful part about it, is that what if you can? I mean, I speak about not wanting to like aggressively monetize your hobby, but what if what you're doing already for just as a hobby could be something that could be an additional stream of income, and something that you could set up that could be working for you while you're asleep. I think that's worthwhile, especially in times like this, because right now, the biggest issue that I'm seeing, and not just producers, just human beings, is not having other streams of revenue to rely upon. And this is what makes it so scary for a lot of people, is the fact that they don't have that, or have any, or they haven't launched anything, or even, thought into that direction. So shout out to y'all. I know a few other people went and made the investment into the book, which is really just an investment into yourself, because to be in this time period and do that, man, that's amazing.
Let me hop in real quick and just close the loop, because we got an open loop hanging, which was two. So I talked about two types of audience in Facebook, but there's actually
my bad. That's my fault.
No, it's good. It's good. I'm glad. I like this is good marketing. You keep people hanging with the open loops of like, wait a second, did you see there was a third one? Hold on, what's that third one?
The third one, that's my fault for talking.
No, it's good. It's good. It's a good marketing tool for you guys to learn. Is learn how to make those open loops. Maybe this one wasn't so much on purpose, but that's something that you can use. Create those open loops. Like we said, you guys got to check out these bonuses. You got to see them. We're like, then you're like, damn, I got to know what these bonuses are. I got to go check them out, right? So that's stuff that you guys can use in your advertising, is use that curiosity, use those open loops, because our brains as humans, like, we need to close loops. That's like what our brain is always trying to do, is close the loop. Like, I need to know the answer to that. I need to know. That's why when you're watching Netflix and it ends on a cliffhanger, like you're not going to hit stop. You're going right to the next one, because you're like, there's all these open loops. I need to know what happens, right? So anyways, there's another little hidden gem in there as far as marketing that you guys can use. So we talked about 2 out of the 3 types of audiences in targeting, right? First one is interest-based. Second one is your custom/retargeting audiences. The third one is lookalike audiences. Now, here's what's really interesting is Facebook has an incredible amount of data on all of us. It's the latest estimate I heard was something like 52,000 points of data on each person, which is like mind-boggling. I don't even understand what that means, right? There's like, I don't know, male, female, age. Like, how do you get to 52,000? I don't even know, but it has to do with.
I don't know if I can name 52.
I don't know, but it's all these different, like the way that you, the way that you move through because here's the thing is everybody has this Facebook pixel installed on their page, right?
Sure.
I do, you should, everybody should. So they essentially know what everybody is doing everywhere at all times. So they know everything about you. What time of day you're most likely to make a purchase. Like, anyways, all this type of, it's right. Insane. So maybe on the consumer side, maybe you have concerns. I don't know, whatever. As, on our side as producers, as people who are putting out content and putting out value to the world, this is an incredible gift. So basically what happened is now you take your custom audience. So remember, interest-based was first. Second was your custom/retargeting audiences, meaning the people have interacted with you in some kind of way. And now the third is lookalike, which is where you take those custom audiences and you tell Facebook, hey, can you find me the 1 million people that are most like this group? So for example, the 1 million people that are most like the people who already bought from me. And what they actually do is they line up those 52,000 points of data and then
Yeah.
say, okay, in the United States, here's 1 million people that are the most like out of the whole, 200 million people that are on Facebook in the United States or whatever the number is. I think that's about what the number is. Here are the 1 million people that are the most like those people.
Yes, sir.
And so what's incredible about that is because it has all this data points, now all of a sudden, instead of having maybe you've sold, between your email list and the people who have interacted with your pixel and blah, 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 maybe you have 1,000 people, maybe you have 10,000 people, right? And that's cool. And you can target those people, but you're going to run out of that list fairly quickly, meaning they're going to see that same ad over and over. At a certain point, you're going to reach the point of diminishing returns where showing it to the same people is
Right.
not going to be helpful. But now Facebook is going to say, okay, we know what these 1,000 people look like. We know way more about them than you do, or they even know about themselves. Here's 1 million people who are just like those people. And now you start showing your ad to those people. And
Man,
that's like
that's where your
the
budget starts to
real
really pay you
insane
back.
power. That's where you can
Yeah.
actually truly scale. And that's how you can get from, instead of just doing, $1,000, $10,000, people, 6 figures. That's how you can get to 7 figures, because
Yes,
now
sir.
you can really scale up and you can reach this huge audience where it's huge, but it's still targeted. So that's the third
Yeah.
one, is the lookalike audience.
That's important. I mean, going back to and I think that's where I took things off the rails, was the analogy of the guy that's walking by and is interested in the cookies. Now, take Facebook. Facebook takes it even past what real life is like. Imagine now there's a system that says I can get you a percentage of the population in this city. Say you got 50,000 people. I can get you a percentage that are just like this guy and would have the same buying habits as him and would come back to your table. And now I'm going to send nothing but that to you and increase your opportunities for conversions, increase your opportunities to make sales, build your email list up. When you break it down like that, I know two things from this, Gabe. When you break it down like that, one, you have a great understanding of it, and then also two, it draws back to what you said was the books that changed your life from Russell Brunson. It lets you know these things have been presented in a way that is digestible, that you can now, when you have the ability to teach it, your understanding of it has far surpassed, how the average person has consumed it. When you can teach it, you know your stuff. And in this situation, you've been able to translate so many concepts that I'm so grateful for you bringing to the producer community, because there's folks out here who are not only changing their lives and even just making some additional income to their work. It really is helping people develop skills that they can take no matter where they decide to go in the next 10 years. Because some folks in here will not be producing in 10 years, or maybe production won't be the biggest thing in their lives. These skills that you're learning about selling yourself, about how to target, about where to kind of put your money to in terms of budget for your ads. These are things that you can one day say, okay, I'm not producing, but I'm going to now run ads for a local business that suffered during the coronavirus lockdown. You could end up using these skills now to transfer and help a small business, maybe even a family business. This is important stuff. So this is why it's deeper than music. It's deeper than just folks who have like a general understanding of funnels. These are skills that you can take with you no matter what you decide to do. So, good stuff. Let me see. Classy beats. I'm not picking my nose, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. My piercing just gets in weird places sometimes. Classy beats says, will we get a second email to access the bonuses once we purchase?
Yeah. So when you go to the site, legionbeats.com/producer traffic, you're going to see all the bonuses. You'll see a video from me explaining everything. You're going to click a little button. You're going to enter your name and email, and then you're going to get an email from me. And at the same time, it's going to redirect you to the page where you can make that purchase to buy traffic secrets. And from there, you can respond to the email that you got from me. And it'll basically give you the directions. Basically, you just email us and say, hey, check it out. I got the book. Cool. We send out, and we have to do it manually. So, give us 24 hours to hit you back to give you the link to the bonuses so that you can access those.
Fire. And then I also just a general, I just love bigging up in the producers who try these things. and take it serious. Not just try them, but really, really go in and adhere to the information they have. G Macho said, I just hit 1K in profit just this year in 2020 from selling beats. $500 is from my beat store. The rest is from my funnel. So
Hey.
I think that's super dope, because it's not like you're coming in here telling people that they need to just delete everything they're doing and do it my way because it's the only way. You're saying, look, I remember even in the course, one of the courses that you had, you were saying, I still have a beat store up that still generates income. It's just that my energy is being directed in another direction. But it's still something that I can utilize. But you just got to find, for everybody that's in here, you got to find, the what do I say? The formula that works best for your situation. After you've been presented with the information. Maz says the link is not working. Anybody else having any issues with the link? Because I literally just copied this over.
leadingbeats.com/producer traffic.
It's right there on the screen too, on the live stream. So I don't know, maybe if you clicked on it and it's a browser issue, whatever the case may be, it should work, because I just double checked before we jumped in here.
You can always try an incognito window or something if it's not working. Sometimes that helps.
Right. Is the ebook $10? Yes. It says where's the link to the ebook? It's in the it's right here on the screen. And then it's
So just to clarify, the book Traffic Secrets from Russell Brunson is not an ebook. That's a physical hardcover book that he's going to mail to you. There is the option to get the audio book, which I highly recommend, so you don't have to wait for them to ship out the books.
Yeah.
One of the bonuses that this gets confusing. One of the bonuses you get from us for free when you order the Traffic Secrets book is an ebook that you will get. So I know it's a little confusing, but hopefully that clears that up.
Yeah. My mistake about the ebook situation, but no, it should be. Everybody else in here says they're not having an issue. So just double check the internet. Double check. So now it's working. Maybe it's my internet. It happens. Y'all have seen me go through many struggle sessions in FL Studio on these live streams. So I think we're good here, man. Unless you had something else that you wanted to add, I think we covered a wide spectrum of topics dealing with specifically traffic, different types of traffic, how to approach ads with the budget, and you've given so much. And then on top of that, you're giving even more for those that go to legionbeats.com/producer traffic. Thank you, man. Thank you for your time. Is there anything that you want to leave with the people, where they can reach you, or just any kind of words of hope right now for folks that are probably interested, but they still are very, very nervous about the times we're living in?
Yeah, well, I'll just say, kind of to reiterate what I said earlier, which is that right now is a time when a lot of people are suffering. Like, there's people who are suffering with their health. There's people who are dying. There's people who have family members who are hurting, who are dying. There's our economy is suffering. There's people who literally can't work. There's a lot of people who are right now out of jobs. So it can be a scary time for a lot of people, and it can feel like maybe the right reaction is to kind of just shut yourself in. I mean, literally, we are supposed to stay home, right? And to not do anything. My call to action to you is that the opposite is true, is that you should be from your home, stay safe, but from your home, what you should be doing is getting your message out to the world more than ever. First of all, they need it more than ever. People need hope. People need direction. People need entertainment. People need you. As a music producer, you are in a unique position to provide the value that people absolutely need right now. Your audience, rappers and singers right now, most of them have day jobs and they're worried. They're home right now. They are not able to make money, right? And so you are in a unique position to show them, hey, here's how you can make money from your music. Right. I have the tools and resources to help you with that. I can provide you with the beats to help you do that, and whatever other tools and resources you can provide to them. I can provide you with entertainment. I can provide you with different types of value that you need right now. And so they need you more than ever. And on the flip side of that too, it's also an incredible opportunity because there's never been more eyeballs on screens than literally right now.
I'm saying.
And so the moral obligation is double. One is you have an obligation to that tribe, to those followers, to those fans, to those potential followers, fans, and customers that you can provide value to get yourself out there, to get your message to them, to get your beats, to get, that value that you can provide to them. And also you have a moral obligation to be able to provide for yourself and for your family. And I am so grateful that I'm able to do these things and that I'm able to provide for my family, and that I have, I'm super grateful to be in a position where I have a team of people and they're all gainfully employed right now. We're okay financially. Our whole team is, because our business is not only surviving these really hard times, but thriving. So I would say there is absolutely hope in these times. And there's not only hope, but like there's opportunity. And that's not opportunity like you're doing something bad or you're taking advantage. The opportunity is that people need the value that you can provide more than ever. And so it's a win-win situation for you to actually provide that value.
And they will never forget you. They will never forget you during this time period. The people that and I keep that in mind as I get up some days, and I have my days where I'm like, yo, it's getting really crazy. Like even at the grocery store where the things that you used to take for granted, the essentials are not like guaranteed anymore. So it can get to a point because I'm providing for my family and like I said, financially we're secure, but resources sometimes can be, it's a human thing to be concerned about the resources. But the most important thing, as Gabe is really kind of pushing to you, is resourcefulness. The chaos on the outside means nothing if you can control the chaos on the inside first, right? It's just that what it is on the outside. And so for those of you that are out there, and I see a lot of you that are using this opportunity to like do a 30-day beat cook up every day, or I see a lot of folks going live more often. I see folks encouraging one another. Keep doing that. But at the same time, don't forget to use this as an opportunity to grow yourself. And maybe it is musically, maybe it is like for me, I'm like, I got to drop off weight because I'm in the house. I'm already got my dad weight. I got to work out every day. I got to get on the treadmill, do something. And so that's what I've been doing. So work on yourself. Please invest into anything literature-wise, audiobook-wise that you can get your hands onto that is going to put your mind in a place of productivity, because my goal for producers that follow or listen or even like they're engaged today, walk out of the next 30 days or whatever this thing is. It could be longer than 30 days. Walk out of this stronger. No matter how strong you are, walk out of this with a stronger mindset, more resiliency, and walk out of this with very intentional intentions and say, you know what, I got this. And so that when your grandchildren ask you, Grandpa, what did you do? Or Grandma, what did you do back in 2020? It was crazy back then. What did you do? Don't be the one that said, I hoarded all the toilet paper and I stayed inside and I ate Pop-Tarts. Don't be that. Be the person that said, they were tough times, but I was tougher. And that's all we all want for you. I'm going to continue to keep showing up and providing that value. I know that Gabe is going to continue to do that. But, man, thank you so much for your time. Producers, legionbeats.com/producer traffic is where you can take advantage of all of the bonuses that come with you getting information for yourself, first of all. We're not asking you to, invest. Get the information for yourself. You have an opportunity to get the audiobook instantly. But then on top of that, you're going to be getting information that's going to put you on the cutting edge as an online music producer in these times. Let's thrive. Let's continue to do what we got to do. Gabe, did you want to add anything else? Or
Man, yeah, I'll just end it by saying, my piece by just saying I'm so appreciative to you, for allowing me, your community, your platform is one that I've been a part of, that I've been, a fan of for so long. And so for me to have the opportunity to be on here and to be able to speak to your community is an honor. And I know I've always looked to you as a leader in this space. And so, I'm proud to be able to be a part of this. And I appreciate you for letting me on here and to speak to you and to your community. Thank you.
It's an honor, bro. It's an honor. Please continue to do the great things you're doing. You sharing stages with Tony Robbins. Like, you kidding me, man? Saying you talking to that funnel hacking. That's another. We'll talk about that later. But thank you for everybody that joined us here today. Man, stay safe. Continue to use good hygiene. I'm about to go wash my hands even after this because I was messing around with my nose ring and all that. I'm conscious of that kind of stuff. But please be safe. Be good to each other. And I will see you guys very, very soon. All right. Thank you again, Gabe.
Appreciate you.
All right, let me get this right.